good morning. I'm back, and I want to talk about this because the news is really, really popping, and I got to talk about it. And it says we were friends. Now, this is dedicated to black women and black womanhood and sticking together and everything like that. Now, we still have a sisterhood, but it's not that cohesive. Um, and it's coming out in it's coming out in Hollywood. Whoopi Goldberg, girl. Whoopi Goldberg was my favorite back in the day, especially in Jump. I think it's Jump Jack Flash. That when she played Karina. Whoopi Goldberg. I did not know Whoopi Goldberg was blackballed. Thank you to all the YouTubers that told that she was blackballed out of Hollywood. And she just now coming back in, getting her key back to Hollywood. Now she's assimilated. So now she's telling Monique the business. Okay, you got blackballed and then you just now get back in 2018, girl, back. Um, Monique and Oprah are alike in so many ways. And I like both of them. I ain't taking no sides. I like both. But I can admit when someone is wrong in this. And it is not Monique by a long shot. And Oprah has a track record of doing shady stuff. Okay? Now Oprah, was cool and everything, but let's start with Oprah Winfrey. Oprah Winfrey comes from the South. She went to Chicago, but before she got to Chicago, Oprah Winfrey had a very, very hurtful childhood. It was crisis on her. Oprah Winfrey was raped and molested a couple of times and she got pregnant at the age of 15. I have a book on Oprah Winfrey in my shed out here. I ain't got time to go through that and flip through that book. But I was a member of the Black Book Club and I got a bunch of black books. Oh my God. I thank you. I got to get back to the Black Book Club. I've been out for a while because I got disappointed with a lot of black people in Hollywood. So I just kind of stopped following. And Oprah was one of my faves. She was one of my faves. Monique is one of my faves too because she's from Baltimore. My dad's family from Baltimore, and Baltimore people are the realest people on earth. They are the funniest. Martin Lawrence, Dave Chappelle, all of them. Those are my faves because they're Baltimore. But Dave Chappelle, I don't think he's from Baltimore. But Martin and Monique, they are Baltimore natives. But Oprah had a very bad past. She got on a David Letterman show in I think 2012, and she talked about how she was raped, how she was molested, and things of that nature. And when you're raped and molested, and I think after Oprah was raped and molested, she went to stay with her grandmother, if I'm not mistaken. Her grandmother raised her. And Oprah, her parents didn't kind of like want her. Oprah had a really bad past because when I read her biography, I was like, damn, Oprah had a very, hurtful past with her family. And I think she took to Monique because she saw Monique being like herself, but a comic, not a talk show host or a reporter. And I think she took to Monique and said, "Hey, this girl is like me. She has my story. We've walked down the same life and everything. We've had the same experiences and everything. So this is where Monique and Oprah came together and, were friends. So Oprah goes to Chicago, and I found it very strange that she lived in Chicago and worked in Chicago all this time and did not give back to the Chicago community. She didn't want no parts of Chicago, and I find that very strange. And you go outside of the United States to build a school in Africa, and all of these people in Chicago and all these black children in Chicago need funding, and you bypass them. I find that very hurtful. Okay. I went to Chicago in like 2008, 2009, and one of my cousins was showing me she showed me the Oprah building, and it was kind of like not all that. Because when I looked at it, I was like, that's the Oprah studio. She was like, yeah, that's Oprah studio right there. She would call herself taking me over there. I was like, girl, let's go back to the other side of Chicago. What is this? So, and when I went to Chicago, Chicago is a mess. Like I saw a lady pull her clothes down and piss right in the middle of the street. I was like, really? I saw a dude pushing a mattress on a basket. I mean, I was like, all of these homeless people, all of this stuff going on, and nobody's helping. Nobody's putting back in. Nobody cares. I'm like, is Chicago this corrupted? So for Oprah to be there that long and not help, and she's a philanthropist, I have an issue with that. Okay, so now let's get back to Oprah. Oprah, was a reporter, as you all know, but she stopped reporting after a while and she started to go into the talk show whole business. I mean, talk show host business. And I used to watch Donahue. I used to watch Ronaldo, Rolanda, Ricky Lake, all of them tried to redo Oprah, be Oprah. And Oprah was leading in the talk show host game. And she stopped being a reporter. I don't know why she stopped reporting. I don't have a story on that. But if Oprah would have been kept being a reporter, I think she would have been great at it because reporters have to investigate. I don't think that Oprah wanted to go down that route of investigating and finding truth. I think she was just like, okay, I'm just going to go over here and sit on a couch and talk to people and shine light on people's problems. Because every time she had a show on her segment, or a star, it was about something crisis like whether they were molested, did they have a drug problem. So Oprah was basically doing some type of charity work by helping stars and women look at the hurts in their lives and look at the traumas in their lives. And I got to give Oprah that. She put light on these things, and she put light on the evil in America and what happens to people. So, she did that. She's been doing that for a while. But then Oprah started to get kind of like, when she started to get really big, I stopped watching her show because I started to see certain things that I didn't like that she was doing. Like, I like when she would have Quincy Jones and Michael Jackson and all of them on the show. I thought that was cool. And Diana Ross and what's that lady's I forgot her name, but when she would do, things with the Supremes and, go down Motown. Then what I really liked about Oprah is she gave Spike Lee the funding to make a movie about a black radical Muslim by the name of Malcolm X. I was elated when I heard Farrakhan talk about this. But then he talked about how Oprah and them did certain things that he didn't like, and they did call and get his permission to tell the story because they had to get the Nation of Islam's permission to tell the story because um, Elijah Muhammad is the owner of the Nation of Islam, and they had to get his approval from the people who are running his organization. And Malcolm X was actually the voice for Minister not Minister Farrakhan, but Elijah Muhammad. Elijah Muhammad wrote the speeches, and Malcolm X was the voice. He dealt with politics and everything like that. And I appreciated that. I appreciate Oprah for doing that. I still cannot take that from her, even though the stuff she just did with Monique was foul. Um, but I cannot find the interview with Louis Farrakhan talking about some of the things that Oprah did with that movie, and how she did some things that Louis Farrakhan didn't like, and he saw it for what it was. So the Oprah, she has been on the shady business for a while on some things that she's done. So now with her and Monique, they are alike in some ways because they both have been molested by some type of family member or have been done wrong in some way. So they built an alliance together. And Oprah did open some doors for Monique, but Monique also opened some doors for herself. So we can't obviously say that Oprah did everything for this lady, because she didn't. She didn't. Okay? Monique came on the scene. um Queens of Comedy was a hit. She came on the scene with Baby Boy. Monique was in her prime on BET until Bob sold BET. When he sold BET, that's when Monique actually went down the drain. And that was in 2002. So BET is no more anymore because Bob is not even controlling that anymore. A black man is not controlling that anymore. It's Viacom. So they saw something in each other, and I believe that Monique did look up to Oprah. But when Oprah went and called her mother and her brother to get them on the show without her permission, that was humiliating. And that was also like taking Monique's consent, which is what happens when you're raped or you're molested. You take a child's identity, um, you take their innocence, and you take their right to say no. So Oprah did the same thing. She took this lady's consent, went behind her back, got her mother on the show and her brother on the show. And Monique did not want to show her mother because her mother, if people don't know, with Precious, when Monique played the mother in Precious, she was actually channeling her own mother. And she did not want people to see the evil in her mother on TV because she didn't want to be identified with that character because that was not her. That might have been her mother, but that was not her. Monique had came from under that. Okay? She had came from under that, and she had formed her own identity. She did not want to be known as a greed person who chose money over choosing her daughter who's been molested by her own brother. Okay? So the mother enabled her son and allowed him to keep molesting his sister. And then Oprah, seeing that this woman is hurt, instead of her shutting the thing down, instead of her getting permission from this lady, she still goes on and call herself being some type of savior or philanthropist and still go with the show. And Monique she hurt her. She hurt her. And then to not apologize for it, this is where I see in the black community where the older versus the young. If y'all remember that movie, Surviving Compton with Michelle Dr. Dre ex-wife. And she said the black women, when Dr. Dre was beating her ass, the black women, even her mother told her, don't do this and just deal with it. Just deal with it. You had to did something wrong, and telling her to deal with the abuse. This is what a lot of black women are doing on Twitter and Facebook in Instagram right now, oh, Mo needs to get over it. These are the same bitches that will sit up here and let their man or their husband molest their child to keep a fucking income. And this is what Monique mother did. She allowed her son to keep molesting his sister and did not intervene. And then Oprah puts it on her show without getting the girl's consent, raping her again. Raking this woman over the coals. And I am so glad to see Monique still take her backbone and stand up straight, because she's been harmed too many times and she is speaking out. And those for you who say that she need to get over it, you need to kill yourself. Because if she needs to get over it, then you need to check your mentality about selling out for a dollar bill. Selling out to keep your home in check while your husband is molesting your child. Selling out, trying to act like your family is perfect when your son is molesting his sister and you don't intervene as a fucking mother. That is pure narcissism. And people can say that Monique has an attitude problem all they want to, but one thing I'm not going to say is she's a fucking narcissist. She's not. She knows that that is wrong. And she's saying that that is wrong. We don't do that in our community. And the black women, the older black women, have put this poison in our community and told us it is okay to allow family members to harm you. Still hold your allegiance to the dysfunctional family. Are we supposed to keep doing that? I won't. What about you? So they were friends, but one of these friends betrayed the other, and it was not Monique. Monique kept her loyalty, which is what Sagittarius do. The Aquarius, on the other hand, did not. The Aquarius is a turncoat, is an opportunist, and they will get you if you don't pay attention. And the Aquarius is not playing, because now the Archer then came out and said, look, this is the truth. Because Aquarius is Jupiter and Aquarius is Uranus and Sagittarius is Jupiter. Jupiter deals with justice and the truth. Monique is the truth. She will always be the truth. And all of y'all that keep saying that she needs to get over it, are you going to tell someone who's been molested by their fucking brother to get over it? You never get over that shit. I've been molested before. It wasn't by a family member, but I never get over it. I think about that shit every day. And I know women right now who've been molested by their fathers, and they are fucked up. And they are never going to get over it. It creates narcissism in a woman. It creates a woman who is soulless and who doesn't care about anything and will destroy anybody in her path. Because that's what happens when you steal a woman's innocence.